According to the U.S. Department of the Interior, Yellowstone National Park has over 10,000 hydrothermal features. It is also the home of more than 400 animal species and holds the largest concentration of mammals in the lower 48. Bison are one of these many mammals. They are very unique and extremely robust animals. The Yellowstone bison are extremely interesting, and there is a great deal of information to learn about them. In this podcast, we will talk about general information, including history, characteristics, reproduction, habitat, behavior, diet, and how to behave around bison. I'm Haley McClure, and this is Bison of Yellowstone National Park. History. The American bison once roamed across most of North America in numbers that reached into the tens of thousands. Bison were an essential aspect of Native American culture. Native Americans used every part of the bison to sustain their way of life. Before horses and guns arrived in North America, Native people hunted bison on foot. One popular technique involved chasing dozens or hundreds of animals off cliffs, where they would fall to their deaths. A single jump could sustain the members of a tribe for an entire year, providing food as well as materials for clothing, shelter, tools, and more. There are many known buffalo jumps throughout the state of Wyoming and hundreds throughout the country. To learn more about buffalo jumps, you can visit wyohistory.org and look up Wyoming's buffalo jumps. As European Americans moved into the West in the 1800s, the U.S. Army began to remove Native American tribes from the landscape by taking away their main food source, bison. Hundreds of thousands of bison were killed by U.S. troops and hunters, says the National Park Service. By the late 1880s, the great herds of bison that once ruled the landscape were nearly gone, states the Buffalo Field campaign. Some animals found protection on private ranches in the Yellowstone area. Their numbers dwindled to about 24 bison that spent the winter in the Pelican Valley in Yellowstone National Park. The United States realized their mistake, and in 1902, Yellowstone's managers began the long road to recovering the bison population. They purchased 21 bison from multiple private owners and raised them. Eventually, the animals were allowed to mix with the park's existing small population. According to the Bison Conservation Program, by 1954, the number of bison had grown to roughly 1,300 animals. They happily share that as of 2023, there are more than 5,000 buffalo in Yellowstone National Park. While this is still a tiny amount compared to the hundreds of thousands that previously roamed freely, it is much better than being extinct. Characteristics. The bison is the largest land animal in North America. According to the National Bison Association, adult males can be 6 feet tall from hoof to shoulder and weigh anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 pounds. Adult females are around 5 feet tall and can weigh anywhere between 800 and 1,000 pounds. Their fur is long, shaggy, and brown. They have a mane and beard. The beard is found under their chin, as well as a long tail with a tuft of hair on the end. They have large heads with short, black horns and a hump on their back. Their horns can be deadly when they use them. Reproduction. According to National Geographic, female bison are ready to mate when they are 2 to 3 years old. Males aren't ready to mate until they are about 6. Mating season begins in July and can run through September. When the mating season begins, male bison move into female groups and select a mate. They then tend the female. This is a very interesting mating ritual. I always thought that bison were like horses and had one mate that was in charge of the herd and had most of the breeding rights. However, this is untrue. Males tend a female by staying between her and the rest of the herd. Tending can last for a few minutes or several days. If a female isn't interested in a male, she will simply walk away. Males will threaten and sometimes attack other males that try to get too close to the female he is tending. Fights between males can involve headbutting, shoving, or locking horns, and these battles can be deadly. The female gives birth to their calf about 9 months after breeding. She will go to an isolated area to give birth. Newborn bison are reddish-brown and can stand shortly after birth. The mother and her calf will stay isolated from the herd for a couple of days to keep the calf safe. At about 2 months, the calf will begin to develop shoulder humps and horns. The calf is usually weaned by the time it is 7 months old. The coloration and size of bison calves have led to many calling them red dogs. Habitat. Bison live in prairies, plains, and river valleys. The Great American Plains are the perfect habitat for bison, but they have been hunted out of these areas and only live in select areas such as Yellowstone. However, conservation efforts have allowed bison to return to some of their native homes as well as reservations. Diet. The large mammals graze year-round on grasses and plants. During the Diet. The large mammals graze year-round on grasses and plants. During the winter months, they use their large heads to move snow off grasses and sagebrush. The Animal Diversity Web did a study and found that for bison to be healthy, they must eat at least 1.6% of their body weight daily and drink water every day. Behavior. The American bison spends the warm hours of the day resting, chewing its cud, or wallowing in the dirt. It is most active in the early morning and late afternoon when it is cooler. Bison live in a variety of groups. Females and young males may live in groups of up to 20 bison. Males can also live in groups of up to 20 males, or they can live in smaller groups, or individually. Mature males and females usually live apart, except during breeding season. Each bison group has a dominant male or female. When they are migrating, they can often be seen in herds of hundreds. During the spring, they need to shed their thick winter fur. To do this, they roll in sandy areas, and you can find large patches of fur on the ground where they roll. Bison's tails are a huge indicator of their comfort level. A low and swishing tail indicates that they are relaxed, and Bison's tails are a huge indicator of their comfort level. A low and swishing tail indicates that they are relaxed, and a high-held flag-like tail means that they are ready to charge. However, it is important to remember that they can charge at any time, and being attacked by a bison can lead to extreme injuries and/or death. If you live around Yellowstone or plan on visiting, it is important to know how to stay safe around bison. While they are large, bison can run up to 40 miles per hour, and they are extremely agile. If a bison charges you, there is no chance for you to outrun them. Utah Wildlife Resources outlines some steps you can take to increase your safety around bison. First, if you see bison and it stops what it is doing and starts paying attention to you, you are too close and should slowly back away. 2. If a bison is in the middle of the road, wait for it to pass. Do not get out of your vehicle. 3. If a bison is on the side of the road, feel free to slowly drive past, but again, stay inside your vehicle. 4. If you see a bison in the distance, do not walk across the rangeland to get closer to it. Take your photos from a safe distance. 5. If you are hiking and a bison is close to you or on the trail, you should either back away and return the way you came, or leave the trail and give the animal a very wide berth when passing. It is okay to go off the trail if your safety is at risk. And 6. Never, under any circumstances, should you touch a bison. The most dangerous bison is the one that is displaying warning signs, so let's go through a few of those. Warning signs may take the form of snorting, shaking their head side to side, pawing at the ground, raising its tail, or even bluff charging. Think about a bull in a bullfighting ring. Stomps its front hooves, lowers its head, and generally looks mean. If the bison is doing anything that looks like that, you're in trouble. But remember, a bison can attack at almost any time. The Stone Age Man article explains what to do if you are charged by a bison. First, back away slowly if you can. If you're in a big field, running isn't going to help. As we said, they can run up to 40 miles per hour. Find an obstacle, something to put between you and the bison. In other words, you should run to a big boulder, a vehicle, or even a group of trees if possible. Get up a tree if there is one nearby. They can't climb, so you might be safe. The bison of Yellowstone Plains are majestic and beautiful, as well as wild and dangerous. They were almost hunted to extinction, but through amazing conservation efforts, their numbers are rising again. If you ever visit Yellowstone National Park, you can be sure you will see these large animals, as well as many other animals. Yellowstone is an extremely diverse and unique ecosystem where every animal has its own unique role. There is no place on Earth quite like Yellowstone and its large or small inhabitants. When you visit Yellowstone, remember to respect the wildlife and keep yourself safe. I'm Haley McClure, and this podcast is called Bison of the Yellowstone Plains.